Good evening. Welcome to online seminar on maritime challenges and global impact due to COVID-19 pandemic. I am Captain Moniruজ্জামান Khan, hosting this seminar on behalf of Bangladesh maritime community in Singapore. We thank all the audience watching this program from Singapore and from all over the world. We look forward for your active participation. You may ask your questions to our guest speakers in the comment section. Please share this program in your Facebook page for more engagement. The program will be broadcasting in live in BMCS Facebook page and YouTube channel simultaneously. The world is facing an unexpected challenges due to COVID-19 and a very difficult time that was not ever encountered in past 100 years. Shipping is not an exception either and suffering equally. Today, more than 188 countries are struggling with coronavirus and most countries impose strict lockdown and restriction. Everything was shut down, aeroplanes grounded, the world economy turned into a standstill. Even in this situation, the seafarers kept the world trade rolling and global supply chain alive. Seafarers were recognized as the key worker by International Maritime Organization, a body of United Nations, in their campaign in year 2020. We thank all seafarers across the world for their hard work and great contribution during global pandemic. However, it came with a costly price to the seafarers. Today, more than 50% of seafarers worldwide are stranded on board waiting for sign-off, and millions more are waiting to join on the ship, many of them facing severe financial hardship due to long waiting to join their job. The seafarers from Bangladesh additionally facing challenges due to restriction and travel ban imposed by many countries. In addition to this, global shipping industries are also suffering from several other issues like certification, training, survey, vetting, repair, supply, docking, financial losses, and severe uncertainty. Bangladesh Marine Community in Singapore, being a professional organization and part of global shipping, arranged this online seminar with participation of the pioneers in maritime sector to look through the challenges in depth. We believe there is always a light at the end of the tunnel. It is my honor to introduce our guest speakers with the audience. We have our guest, Chief Engineer, Mr. Zulfikar Hossain. Mr. Zulfikar Hossain is President of BMCS. He is also working as a Senior Marine Surveyor and Examiner of Maritime and Port Authority of Singapore. Welcome, Captain Zulfikar. Welcome, Mr. Zulfikar Hossain.
Thank you.
We have invited Captain Muhammad Anam Chowdhury. Captain Anam is from 12th batch from Bangladesh Marine Academy, and he is current president of Bangladesh Merchant Marine Officers Association. Bangladesh Merchant Marine Officers Association also represent ITF, International Transport Workers Federation in Bangladesh. Captain Anam also acting as an advisor to Bangladesh Shipbreakers Association. Welcome, Captain Anam. It is our honor to have you here in this seminar. We have Dr. Sajid Hossain. Dr. Sajid Hossain is a very well-known figure in our maritime community in Bangladesh. There is nothing to introduce him additionally. He is Commandant, Bangladesh Marine Academy. Captain Shazid also acting as IMO Goodwill Maritime Ambassador, trustee of IMO East, chartered engineer, and a governor at World Maritime University. He is also involved in literature and the author of 22 books and 26 research papers. Welcome, Dr. Sajid. It is our honor to have you here in this seminar. We have Captain Belal Ahmed. Captain Belal Ahmed is Chairman, International Maritime Employment Council. He is also Managing Director, Western Shipping Private Limited, Singapore. Thank you, Captain Belal, for participating in this seminar. We also invited Captain Shahid Murad. Captain Shahid Murad is working as a General Manager, crewing in K-Line Ship Management in Singapore. Thank you for your time and participation in this seminar. We go to the question and answer session with our guest speakers, and before that we choose their specialized area to have some discussion on how they are facing these challenges in their respective fields. So we'd ask Captain Mr. Zulfikar Hossain. Mr. Zulfikar Hossain is working in MPA, Maritime and Port Authority of Singapore. After the IMO asked all the countries, member countries, to open up for the crew change, few countries come forward to support this, and Singapore is one of them. We would like to ask Mr. Zulfikar how Singapore, as a maritime nation, support this to help the crew change and solve this problem worldwide. Mr. Zulfikar Hossain.
Thank you, Munir. Thank you very much, Munir. Please allow me to give me a little bit of this introduction here, as we have many people watching, so let me be a little bit formal. Dear our grand pioneers, seniors, batchmates, juniors, and friends, all currently viewing our BMCS Bangladeshi Marine Community Singapore's webinar 2020 via YouTube and Facebook. And thereafter, finally, to those who will be watching it later due to time difference, a very good evening or good day to you all, and Assalamu alaikum. I am very thankful to current BMCS committee and especially the technical development subcommittee to be able to share here a few words and to show a few slides on your screen as a mitigating initiative against unprecedented COVID-19 era, which has permeated and escalated maritime challenges and global impact and caused us lots of suffering and distress. Here we have several very knowledgeable speakers. They will be covering their area of expertise in a short while. I am requested to share a few points on Singapore's initiative on crew repatriation from and to ships here. As you know, Singapore has been on the forefront, as mentioned by the moderator, with regards to dealing COVID-19. MPA has issued many circulars to notify mariners, marine sectors here, COVID-related information, do's and don'ts, etc. I sincerely hope that after this discussion, you will find and feel that end of the tunnel is nearing. and the rays of lights can be seen. I also hope that the transmission of the program will be seamless and with the support of viewers, question and answers, it will give maximum guidance available and the protocol permits. Mind you, I must add that at this unprecedented COVID-19, it can relapse in the community or mutate into other forms. Medications and vaccines are being claimed to have mitigating effects on coronavirus, but yet to be officially endorsed, etc., etc. Many unknowns are still floating on the air on COVID-19. Fighting in this invisible enemy is close to impossible. Firstly, I would like to make it clearer that a stable and far-sighted government and maritime companies, associations, unions, etc., their top leaders are the enablers of Maritime Singapore's continued success. The uniform and successful fight against the COVID-19 here by Singapore government has earned many accolades worldwide, namely keeping mortality rate one of the lowest in the world. For example, yesterday, 0 cases in ICU, 146 in hospital, 3,697 are in community facilities. The COVID-19 official reports are updated at least twice a day here so that the general mass can take a hit and avoid or take extra precaution when certain locations were visited by COVID infected personnel. This is possible by the Contact Trace Together app. A QRR code is done at entry point of each and every entities. An example of responsibleness and best communitarian traits of people living here. You may have noted recently Singapore ranked top maritime center in Chinese Xinhua Baltic International Report for 7th year, beating many favorites. This really deserves great admiration and applause. There are many other similar examples, but I want to go back to the topic as was requested. Actually, there are several initiatives by Singapore government, like they have issued 2 circulars, in fact 3 circulars. First was circular number 19, then it has been superseded by another one. Let me see whether I can bring the circular to you or not. Okay, can you see my circular? The circular is number 26, Port Marine Circular number 26, which is giving the details on the thing. So we can see that. Then after that, I can show you another one. I can show you another circular, which is the 27th, which is a bit more. I wanted to show it to you a bit here, that they have made a designated holding facility, which is the most important thing, because the planes has not been flying on time. Planes has not been flying on time. Immigration clearance was not possible. So many things were uncertain. So that's why I would like to say that this initiative of getting the thing is a bit approaching closer to closer. So I think, Munir, this gives me sufficient background. Maybe later I can share more. Is it okay, Mr. Munir?
Thank you, Mr. Julfikar Hussain. Thank you for your informative speech. We will ask Captain Anam Chaudhary because Captain Enam Chowdhury is the president of Bangladesh Merchant Marine Officers Association, also which represent the ITF. So, and he is located in Bangladesh. So I'd like to know from Captain Anam that how Bangladesh seafarers is struggling with this situation. As I initially mentioned that many of the seafarers, they're waiting to join, and lots more, they're unable to sign off. Captain Nenam.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum, Shubha Shanda, and good evening to all the viewers who are attending. And BOMA is grateful to be a part of this arrangement, and thanks to BMCS for doing this. I welcome all of you to the world of seafarers. We merchant mariners are one of those professionals who went and goes through a tough lifestyle and the hardships we endure at sea to make sure that the world and its people continue to have better living shore. The Merchant Marine Officers Association, represented by almost 10,473 of its members, and we have our people being stuck in this pandemic globally, though the number is not very big. But I want to make one thing very sure, that this association is also a global connection with the ITF, and we are also being endorsed by the Ministry of Labor here to do the negotiations on behalf of the officers working on board ships. I want to remind everybody that the seafarer's life, we carry almost more than 90% of the global commodities and keep the economic wheel moving. We sacrifice our life in doing that. We fight the toughest seas and roughest weathers. We risk our life through piracy and war zones, face the extreme health hazards, and we follow the toughest regulations and laws. And we work around the clock with monotonous routines, and we work the most without the basic rights in some cases. We are at high risk of criminalization and abandonment while pursuing our job, and live with modest accommodation and the facilities even in these modern days of shipping. This onset of global COVID-19 crisis has struck the shipping industry harder than the most in the world, had hard implications for seafarers, the shipping lines, and the companies globally. It also reminded us how important the shipping industry is to the global economy and the health and well-being of citizens around the world. And as such, shipping will always be a backbone of our world and its fortunes. During this COVID, BOMA had done a lot of humanitarian activities, both for its members and for the people and the frontliners in Bangladesh. We have closely worked with the focal departments, the focal ministries, to ensure and do our best, which the seafarers desire. And we have been successful. We are thankful to the government organizations who has, through this difficult time, have done their best to make sure that the seafarers are in a comfort zone. So in short, this is what I have a brief. And once we have a question answer session, it will be my pleasure to give you in details. Thank you. Honorable moderator, I think I've finished. I just gave a brief, and I think we can continue once you have a question answer session next. Over.
Okay. We'll see this question in the question answer session later. Okay, thank you, Captain Enam, for your summarized speech on mariners in Bangladesh and partly in a global platform. So, in the maritime industry and in the maritime sector, training and education is a part and parcel of it. Actually, we always call competent seafarers, and the institution in Bangladesh who is taking the leading role is Bangladesh Marine Academy, and we are honored to have Dr. Sajid Hossain, the commandant of Bangladesh Marine Academy here. So we would like to ask him, we'd like to ask Dr. Sajid, how this pandemic you are facing in terms of training and education in Maritime Academy, which is like they have a training in the in-house, means everybody have to be there. So how you face the entire situation in Marine Academy? Dr. Sajid Hossain.
By the grace of Almighty Allah, we have assembled here through BMCS. So from the Academy, we are grateful to the President and Executive Committees and the members of BMCS. And in this situation, we hope that it will act as a bridge among the members in Singapore, Bangladesh, and everywhere in the world. As you know that, to be brief on the problem, at the very onset in March, like all other educational institutions, Bangladesh Marine Academy went into closure. The cadets went to their individual houses and they are staying there. But here, as it is a residential one, we are here. And so all my colleagues came up with a proposal, a very unique, never happened. We were not so acquainted also, but we came with online education. And successfully we are continuing with this. We know that 100% participation is not possible due to technical difficulties, but our average participation is more than 75, and we are in connection with all cadets, and therefore we are trying our best to convey them, those who miss the classes, in form of other form of education, like sending assignments, class notes, and other communications through email or SMS, etc. It goes to the, now you know that 4 years bachelor degree program is going on, and so first year, second year with normal arrangement is enough for them, our arrangement. And for the fourth year, we call them first year and second year pre-C cadets. In third year, you understand, on the job training, and in fourth year post-C cadets. So the post-C cadets are mainly with their final year, and mainly they do their research works in form of a dissertation. And we, in cooperation with the Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman Maritime University, we are also taking the assessment for their dissertation or thesis. It happened that someone at sea and appeared his or her assessment wherever the ships are. So we are doing it successfully. There is, for the time being, there is no problem in online education, and they are comfortable. So we are trying our best, including myself. All my colleagues are taking classes for education, as well as to keeping their moral high, that future is not uncertain. Inshallah, the current situation will definitely go off, like in the history. There were so many calamities came, resistances came, and we know very well that man is born to be winners, and therefore there will be some way out. And we are committed to complete the current, for example, current senior batch to have their graduation possibly in some special digitalized way or something like that if it comes up. And in normal time, you understand, in 2016, we had our graduation ceremony with the chief guest, Honorable Prime Minister. Let's say it's online. So she appeared digitally and conducted. So therefore, there will be some way out now too. And one more thing I would like to point out that possibly you all know, still I would like to mention here that since 2018, the cadets' total fees for the first 2 years reduced from 4 lakh taka to 1 lakh taka. Our initiative was started in 2011. Ultimately, we became successful with the Ministry of course, Shipping and Ministry of Finance. Finally, it was approved. So already it has come down to 1 lakh for everything for 2 years. And now we have a plan that whatever the duration in this academy due to corona pandemic, we will not, we will try our best not to charge anything more, which will be normal. Again, on top of that, we are trying to reduce the course fees at the request of respected Captain Anam Chaudhary sir is here. From the association, it has been requested officially, and we have sent our proposal along with that request to the Ministry of Shipping, and it is under process now. We are hopefully observing that one. That is one point. And last of this part now, that one thing to be, we would like to clear that we from the academy, we are not in a position, or it is not our objective also to find jobs for the cadets. But what we do is to be understood clearly. We conduct promotional activities in various forms round the year, continuously. Our message is this academy is up to the world standard. Our cadets are smart cadets, skilled cadets, and that's all. And so the ship owners, ship managers, employers, they become attracted, and around the year we are receiving either through email, through communication, through their visits to the academy, and it is going fine. Now it is well understood that Bangladesh Marine Academy is undoubtedly one of the top 10 academies of the world. So with this, and of course that we are having results, and with this, for the time being, I conclude here. Maybe there will be more discussion, and hope to take part in that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Sajid Hossain. Yeah, we also think there will be a light at the end of the tunnel. And thank you for your great dedication and a great effort to build up the mariners in Bangladesh. Not mariners, the quality mariners in Bangladesh. Thank you very much. We would like to ask Captain Bilal Ahmed. Captain Bilal Ahmed is also he's the chairman of International Maritime Employment Council. So we'd ask Captain Bilal Ahmed to give an overview of maritime manpower map in all over the globally and where Bangladesh stand in that map. Captain Bilal Ahmed.
Assalamu alaikum. Good evening, everyone, whoever is attending. I like to keep my discussion focused on the crisis for the reason for which we are here today, which is basically the crew change matter. Internationally, obviously, we all know it is not a crisis only for the seafarers. The reason the world is putting a lot of attention is because nobody wants to have any disruption in the global supply chain. So in the beginning, when the crisis started, the initial discussion that took place between various international organizations took some time for people to realize that if the crew change does not happen, the global supply chain will be affected and there will be consequences in every single country. However, as we can all see, after 4 months and a lot of work done publicly, privately, we are now in a situation where I have to say trickle, not a large amount of seafarer being able to go home or join the ships. It's still considered a crisis, and most importantly, seafarers' plight is still not recognized by many countries. So many of us who actually still working with the various governments, we find it difficult. Earlier, our colleague, Mr. Zulfikar, spoke about Singapore, and I was involved in the task group. It is very difficult to get a government to allow flexibility for crew change because it involves different ministries, and we all understand that. So in every single country, we found the Ministry of Shipping or the people related to crewing wants to help, but it is always the other ministries that is responsible for healthcare, responsible for national security, has different views. And that is why how to find a balance was always the case. Now, just to give a background on how this thing was carried forward, basically we can say ITF played a major role. They were the one that initiated through ICS, and we know involvement of ILO, involvement of IMO and national governments. And being in Singapore and my involvement with MPA as well as internationally, I know how difficult it is to get a consensus to allow crew to move freely. Even today, most of the country, the protocol are difficult. So in context of Bangladesh, when we had a preliminary talk about this discussion, there was a talk about the number of Bangladeshi seafarers who are affected. I'm in Singapore. I do not have exact numbers, but roughly I would guess at this stage, probably up to 2,000 Bangladeshi seafarers are on board. And we can say there is a similar number who is actually at home. So we've got 4,000 families. Some needs to go to the ship in order to earn money. Some needs to get home in order to be with their families. So Bangladesh, compared to Philippines, India, Ukraine, Russia, where a lot of discussion takes place about crew change, it is actually not a very small problem. It is a large problem. And why in international discussions Bangladesh always comes up is because Bangladeshi seafarers do work in international fleet. And again, it's a question of supply chain disruption. If we have a ship with the Bangladeshi officers and the ship stops moving, there will be problems. It doesn't matter where it is, whether the ship is in US or in Singapore or in Japan or in Europe, doesn't matter where it is. So the problem is large, even the context of Bangladesh. Some of us may say, well, we don't have a very large pool of seafarers, why do we care? But we have to care. Now, my experience on dealing with the problems in the Philippines, where we have exactly same situation like Bangladesh, but Filipinos have large number of seafarers, but even larger number of so-called overseas foreign workers. Bangladesh has a similar problem. We have seafarers and we have a massive number of people working in the Middle East and others. So if you go to the government and say, we have a problem with our seafarers, would you approach and help us? For them, it is a very small problem. It is not the problem of, I don't want to say millions, but at least hundreds of thousands of workers that are in the Middle East in other countries. So many countries we found seafarers are not recognized, even though officially we all say that IMO said and everybody agrees we are the key workers, but it is only on the paper. Basically, most of the governments still do not see seafarers as frontline workers that need to give them special facilities, special flexibility. So many of our manning agents or the shipping companies in Bangladesh involved in sending crew overseas and bringing them back, I think they are more involved in knowing the international protocols and the requirements. I was checking with people that I know, basically in Bangladesh, the seafarers doesn't have much problem to leave and come. Their problem is always in the port where the crew change is going to take place, and which is always the case. And in this situation where you have a problem where the crew originates, like in India or in Philippines or Bangladesh or Ukraine, and you have a problem where the crew change takes place, Japan and Korea, Hong Kong and Singapore and Rotterdam and wherever else. So those of us who are involved into trying to solve the problem on both sides, meaning a crew leaving Bangladesh should have a positive or negative test result, and it should not be positive. It must be positively negative. But we know that there are issues where PCR test results were not accurate, and that resulted in crew change issues. You get blacklisted, and everybody suffers. So this is where I believe that the Officers Association and the Ratings Association, DG Shipping, and those involved into providing the healthcare should take this into account. I don't know whether I'm taking a longer time, Captain Munir, but I will stop here. There are a lot to talk about, but we can take it up as a question and answer. But I like to just point out that the importance of Bangladesh and its seafarers is internationally taken up. Some of us may think that it is not, but it is. In every discussion, Bangladesh always comes up, because I believe that when you have a 2,000 seafarers at any moment on various ships, that's quite a large number, not a small number. Thank you very much, and I shall try my best to answer during the question and answer. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Captain Bilal. It's very informative because you're working in the global perspective and at the core of seafarers' employment. We hope we will have a valuable discussion later while we will go to the question and answer session. Regarding this, already Captain Bilal already highlighted that the problem, which is actually the gaps between the countries, ICS, IMO. So countries actually not essentially following the IMO guideline or ICS guideline in terms of seafarers repatriation and all. But some countries come forward, some countries have not yet. So we have Captain Murad. Captain Murad is a general manager crewing, K-Line Ship Management. K-Line have direct employment from Bangladesh. There are a couple of ships and full manning. So I think Captain Murad is experienced the trouble practically he is facing for the repatriation, as well as because he have a lot of crew from the Bangladesh. So Captain Murad also would be well experienced on seafarers repatriation from Bangladesh specifically. So I'd like to request Captain Murad to tell everybody of his experience, practical experience, and the difficulties. Thank you, Captain Murad.
Hi, thank you, Captain Malik. Hi, good evening, everyone, and also Assalamu alaikum. I think I'm just doing last 12 years the same job, this crewing. I think I should directly dive into the main issue here. What this ongoing crisis has, in this ongoing crisis, my effort will be to give you the main two aspects of the whole situation. Number one aspect will be how the shipping companies really wanted to do the crew change, how it has affected the shipping companies. Number two, what is the ground reality of the repatriation? I mean, joining and signing of the Bangladeshi seafarers. Okay, if you come back to the number one, how it has affected the shipping companies. To tell you honestly, every shipping companies do not have 100% backup of the officers or rating ashore. Normally, you keep either depending on the nationality, like for Bangladesh, India is nearly similar, maximum 50 to 60% officer we normally keep the backup. But for Filipinos and all, we even can work with 30%. So it means now over the time, I mean, you start from last March till July, it's been actually, I think it's around 5 to 6 months. These 5 to 6 months, virtually all the crew changes has come down to a standstill. It means Earlier, we had a very big number of people who has already finished their contract. Now, slowly that number is swelling up. When we say swelling up, actually, at the end of this month of July, we had seen, on an average, between ship to ship, between 50 to 70% of the crew member have finished their contract. And it means it's very important for a shipping company to, as quickly as possible, to start relieving their crews. Because if I do not relieve these officers, they will not be ready to come back and relieve the second batch, because I do not have 100% officer at the backup. So it's not only for us, it's for every shipping company. Shipping company does not have the luxury of having the 100% backup officers. You know, the shortage also was in every area. So every company like us is trying their best to use every opportunity to do the crew change. Money is not the matter. I can assure that. Most of the shipping companies, money is not the matter, whether it's a chartered flight or whatever, is the opportunity. Okay. Number two is the ground reality. When I say ground reality, what is it? Now everybody on every ship we have got internet. Everybody has a smartphone. Everybody, I receive myself, even my executives, my department, everybody receive from the seafarers, our officers, that I have got this flight. Why you can't get me this flight? It means information is everybody's hand. But how true is it? Is it true? So that's the perspective I want to give you. So now for the crew changes, we have got main three key areas, which is actually hampering all the crew changes. It's not only for Bangladesh, it's for most nationality. The key areas is number one is the flights from to Dhaka. Now, if you are aware, there are actually main two airlines are operating out, except Biman. There are two other international airlines operating out of Dhaka. One is Emirates and another Qatar. And these have got 3 flights in a day, and they are taking out via Doha and now via Dubai. So you can think of this thing. I think just a few minutes before Belasa said, we have got huge number of, foreign workers. So you are a small number. These many people are also waiting because their visa is expiring. So to get a outbound seat in outbound flight is the biggest hurdle, I tell you. We just did on last week, we had done 8 crew member change in New York. We managed because we got business class tickets. Otherwise, there is nothing. And even today, getting a business class is also very difficult. This is one thing. Turkish Airlines, already said they're going to start operation. They had the approval, but actually they have not yet started. But we are hearing they're going to start operate now. Malindo, maybe there is going to start on 21st. It means the flight is very limited, actually. This is our biggest hurdle. Number 2, quarantine or the protocols or the ground reality at the departing country, in Dhaka. Just now Belasa said it's most easiest. Only one hurdle is the PCR test. Like if you have to join in Singapore, you have to do the PCR test within 48 hours prior taking your flight. Bangladesh is very little chances to get some facility laboratory who can do a test and give you a result in 48 hours time. This is one of the biggest hurdles. Number 2 is the transit country. Now, many of you don't know. I mean, I talked with many of the masters. They asked me why I cannot have a flight through Doha. In Doha, Hammam Airport, there is a 22 hours of timeline. It means you have to have a transit flight within 22 hours because of the COVID situation. They don't want to take chance for their country. And it means if you do not have a connecting flight in 22 hours, you are not allowed to board the aircraft. So this is one of the biggest hurdles. Like the Abu Dhabi airport, just I think last week we had 5 crew member officers replacement we arranged. But what you could do, the crew member is coming from the Dhaka at evening 1700 hours, but next connecting flight is morning 6. It's within a very short time. But the Abu Dhabi airport does not allow any overnight transit. So these are the real practical problems. Now, so many masters told me, why don't you let us know these problems? Honestly speaking, when a general manager of crewing tells the crew that I have a problem, I think they are not going to believe. They might be thinking this is they are trying to, not to arrange our relief. But that's the ground relief, which you might not get in the internet actually. Okay. Then last one is the destination country. Like now today, if you go to Korea, Busan, from 23rd of July, which is 3 days from now, what is going to happen? If you go, you have to 14 days in a quarantine, which was not there before, just a week before. The 14 days in quarantine, and people from Bangladesh, Pakistan, I think Kazakhstan, there are 6 countries who must take a PCR test on arrival. At the same way, I will go back to Balasar. What's the PCR test, the credibility of the test being done in your home country is a big question here. We just know in the news, I think there's 15,000, some numbers already been in the fake certificate issued in Bangladesh. Somebody's been arrested, nothing's going on. So it means it's affecting our credibility in outside also. And I'm very worried. All these people in future, this stick keeps on swelling, how is it going to affect our seafarers? It's not their fault, but they're going to. Last one is the facility at the home country. Okay, now this is what you're saying is a lockdown. Bangladesh is not a problem. It's not been very hard and fast been followed. People can come down to Dhaka and do the tests. But PME, the one big hurdle is the visa, joining visa. For Bangladesh, we have, I think in the ranking of passports, we know our situation. We need to have the visa in many countries. Until Busan, as I said, until this 23rd July, anybody coming into the Busan, even from Bangladesh, India, they don't need, they can come with OK to board without a visa. From 23rd July, everybody needs a visa. It means the Korea has been shut for us from 23rd of July. So now, next we come to the Japan. Japan, if your vessel is not coming, is not out at sea for last 14 days, no disembarkation will be allowed. Japan doesn't want to take any risk. Okay, you will be allowed to come in, but if you cannot get the off-signing out, how are you going to do? What are you going to do? This is another one. Good news, it's not all bad news, some good news. Egypt, Suez Canal Transit, they have started operating, but the hurdles remain again with the aircraft, the connecting flights. But otherwise, Suez is the best one. USA, we are doing very good. Only again the hurdle, but still I must say the chances of getting flight is much better in USA. US authorities are not very, but there is, when you joining in and coming signing off at USA, you have a high chance of the infection also. That is, it means you have to take a very high degree of measures, hygiene measures while coming in and going out. So these are the things. Okay, and Singapore, I think the Zulfikar said there's a big number of, they are approving a lot of ships. We have got a lot of approval. For Bangladeshis, I'm facing the trouble only to the connecting flights. There is 2 holding facility. Okay, these 2 holding facilities, the last known position is they are already overbooked. If you do not have a space in a holding facility, you will not be allowed to come in. So it means to have a flight which allows you to directly go on board, then only can. For Bangladesh, this possibility becomes very limited. Okay, so these are the main 3 areas. So whatever you get from the internet, I must suggest you, please do verify with the other means. We're here to help you. But these are the main 3 areas which are, but we are feeling, especially in Bangladesh context, I think there are a lot of airlines is going to start operating. We are hopeful that in the coming weeks it will be more easy. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Captain Murad. It's very informative, and because he's at the forefront of this crew changing matter. May I ask Captain Murad, will you consider to deviate your vessel 1 or 2 days? As you said, that Suez is a port where you can do a crew sign-off. Will you do that? Deviate your vessel 2 to 3 days for crew sign-off in this tough time when the owners also suffering because business is low.
Okay, Captain Murad, I think this is already, I think here Captain Rabil also there. We are all from the Japanese liner. For Japanese liner, we do not have any problem to divert a vessel. We do not have any problem. Just we had diverted few of our vessels, like we had diverted Hong Kong. You must be aware. In Hong Kong, Anchorage, the Hong Kong government had allowed the ships to come in only for cruises, thanks to them. But at the same time, for Hong Kong, we've been able to do for the Filipinos and Indian because they do not have a visa requirement for the incoming joiners. But for Bangladeshis, we need to have a visa. We need to have a visa, and I think the Chinese embassy in Dhaka is still closed. And Hong Kong, getting a Hong Kong visa is very difficult. Other than that, I will just tell you the one of the serious problem I'm facing. I have got 1 ship, we have got our Bangladeshi ratings. And this ship, I have got no option in this whole area to do the crew change, except for Singapore. We have kept our finger crossed. We have made some arrangement for the coming week. But if only that flight works out. But we do not have any problem. We have got the whole green signal from our top management, including our chartering division. They don't bother about hiring the vessel 1 or 2 days just for the sake of the crew change. Thank you.
Thank you, Captain Murad. It's really positive from the ship owners if they consider to deviate a ship for just for a crew change, and it's a huge cost. But the trade is not so high. Also, the owners are suffering also, but still owners are willing to do it. That's very positive. We also got a lot of questions from the audience. So we'll take a short break now, and we'll be watching the BMCS introductory video about 5 minutes. So please stay with us, and after this video, we'll switch to the question and answer session from our audience. Let's watch the video, BMCS introductory video.
Having a long sea coast at the Bay of Bengal, Bangladesh is well known as a maritime nation. Over 90% of its goods are transported via sea and waterways. This makes shipping and prudent seafarers most important factor for the development of the economy. Bangladesh Marine Academy is the home of most of the Bangladesh mariners. Marine Academy was established in 1962. Long 57 years of professionals' developing journey is now moving ahead, more with coveted international standing, achieving name and fame of developing world-class maritime leaders. Yearly, average recruit of cadets, pre-sea, 120 cadets, male and female. Number of trained post-sea officers, 30,000 marine officers and marine engineers. Located in a beautiful picturesque surrounding on the large green hills and valleys at Juldia Point of Chittagong, where the river Kornafuli meets the Bay of Bengal. In recent years, Marine Academy achieved recognition of Nautical Institute, London, and Institute of Marine Engineering, Science and Technology, London, and also upgraded its status as a partner institution of World Maritime University, WMU, Sweden, envying others. BMCS, Bangladesh Marine Community in Singapore, is a professional organization registered under Registry Societies, ROS, Singapore. BMCS vision: to work with any other organization having similar interest for marine community and work for professional development and shared value creation towards sustainable maritime operation. BMCS mission: we are professional mariners, share our professional knowledge, exchange professional ideas, and promote social welfare. It is a socio-cultural family organization to build a strong bondage and promote brotherly and cordial relations among all mariners living in Singapore. To promote social interaction and welfare of its members and their families. To promote professional interests through networking and a high level of ethical practices. Present Executive Council of BMCS. Recently, Sheikh Hasina Wazir, Honorable Prime Minister of Government of the People's Republic of Bangladesh, has paid an official visit to Singapore. The BMCS team held a meeting with Major General Mia Mohammad Zainul Abidin, Military Secretary to the Prime Minister, and Shipping Secretary Mr. Samad. They have discussed amongst other on seafarers visa and landing permit related issues. We are fortunate to have more than 250 Bangladeshi mariners working in Singapore in renowned shipping companies, MPA, PSA, and various classification societies, etc. In fact, all facets of maritime business. All our members are surely committed professionals in the respective shipping companies or organizations, maritime or bunkering related regulatory bodies for which we all are proud of, meet regularly to exchange ideas and enhance each other's professional acumen for better marketability. We have created strong bonding among the members, though various activities such as technical seminars with expertise on maritime-related fields, promoting healthy lifestyle activities, self-awareness of health screening, various sports activities, and family gatherings. We are committed to contribute more towards the maritime field with our dedication and sincerity. At the same time, we would like to extend our full support toward the Maritime Singapore and World's International Maritime Center.
Yeah, good evening. Welcome back. We just had a short break. Now we'll go some question. We have a lot of questions asked by the audience, and we try to answer all of them as possible briefly. So our first question asked by Mr. Ali Shahriar. The question, okay, we skip this question. We go to the next question because the question was asked to Captain Bilal Ahmed. So the next question is Mr. Jillur Rahman Bhuya. The question was asked to Dr. Sajid. I have very high appreciation for all your effort in bringing the BMA at world-class standard. My question is, how the standard of the intake can be raised with meritorious HSC result? Captain Sajid, Dr. Sajid. Sorry, we have a technical issue.
Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry,
Okay. I'm sorry, Dr. Sajid. Your mic was off for about
Yes.
half a minute. Would you please start again?
Yes, I'm saying, not wasting time. Understood. The number one thing is that the raising standard for the intake is not one-sided matter. The available students from the colleges is our available market. So therefore, we just cannot, it is a two-sided matter, two-sided. Anyway, we have already increased standard in terms of various that will take time. English speaking, for example, even you understand during our Viva session is not a question answer anymore. Commencing from coming towards us, walking style, looking style, muscle movement after every question, all these things we mark. Physical appearance, appearance in a very, we have our norms. Number two is that if we like to look for meritorious boys and girls, my question not to be answered by at this forum is not necessary, just food for thought. We now focus on a cadet, on a prospective candidate to become cadet, whether his or her eyes are open or not. Number one criteria is not the merit. Merit is only benchmark at the first test. That's all. Afterwards, merit is done. We look for prospective one who is smart enough to face the hard life at sea. So it's not the meritorious boys. So therefore, Captain Zilur Rahman Bhuiya sir, your question is answered in this way that merit, of course, one of the very important criteria, but not number one criteria. So therefore, I hope that because as time is short, I hope you have understood our core message. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Sajid. I would like to ask a question to Captain Belal Ahmed, because it's not the crewing only. The whole industry is suffering in all respect. Betting, supply, docking, everything. So I request Captain Belal Ahmed, he is MD of Western Marine. So he's overall looking on this thing of his company. So how you see the suffering of the shipping industry other than the crewing? So would you please highlight on that?
Yeah, thanks, Captain Munir. Sorry. It is a crisis like any other industry, more so for us. The first thing I believe we all know that superintendents are nowadays very, very difficult to travel. I had a superintendent who traveled yesterday from Singapore, and he's a Singapore citizen, arrived in Japan, and had to do his COVID test, and he can only join straight to the ship. He cannot get out. So there is a difficulty in superintendent travel, which means direct monitoring is becoming difficult. So when you cannot do direct monitoring, and there is always, we are doing online seminar, it is same, we don't do online audit, but we do what we call is a remote audit. And the guideline has already been published by various organizations, especially for tanker operators like ours. OCIM has provided guidelines recently. In our office, I think in the month of May, we have done a remote TMSA. So we are now unable to do ship inspections. So we are using technology basically to do remote audits. And to our surprise, a lot of these things is possible. We never looked into this before, but it is very much possible. And most of our ships, I believe, a large proportion of the world tonnage is moving towards VSAT installations. And once you have VSAT, and if you have a camera that works well, you can actually do proper audit, even sitting in office. So a lot of remote audits, inspections are being carried out. In addition, on the tanker industry, with regard to the vetting, when ships are in places where the vetting inspectors are not allowed to go in because of the COVID, there are oil companies who are doing the same thing. Remote sire inspections are also being done in order to keep industry up to date. Classification societies, some of us here in the panel and some who are listening are have a lot of experience with class, and some of them have already coming out with procedure process how to do a remote audit. Some are already doing it actually. DNV that I can mention, Lloyd's as well. So the industry is changing how you operate. A lot of things that we before did not believe can be done is being done, and we are pleased to see that it actually works. Thank you.
Thank you, Captain Belal Ahmed. For highlighting the other issues other than the crewing. So our next question was asked to Captain Anam. It was asked by Muhammad Mustafizur Rahman. I believe he's from Singapore. So he asked 3 questions. The first question is to facilitate safe disembarkation, to make ship joining process easy, support financially vulnerable officers. So these 3 things, what Bangladesh Merchant Marine Officers Association is doing to support these 3 things. Captain Anam Chaudhary.
Thank you. It was a very good question. And first thing, BOMA's main job is to work with the government, especially with the focal department, that is Department of Shipping, and the focal ministry, the Ministry of Shipping. BOMA has been very careful, from the onset of this COVID-19 when it all started. And the first COVID patient was in the end of first week of March. And I think from the second week of March, we started supplying various, grade 4 PPEs, the mask, gloves, hand sanitizers, and to all BOMA family members who are in medical profession. And to do that, we also included all medical professionals and technicians in 63 hospitals and laboratories and in 8 divisions of Bangladesh. So, and we also gave these PPEs to the pilots in all 3 ports. And we are now helping all the ships calling in 3 ports of Bangladesh, that is Chittagong, Payara, and Mongla. We are giving the seafarers, and we have done more than 100, and it is a continuous process when we're doing that. Secondly, regarding the distressed seafarers, we also took into action on that matter. So we through all our members, through our different channels, and we found out the people who are in distress economically and financially. We have given them food packages sufficient to sustain for 1.5 to 2 months. And also we build up a fund within the BOMA from its own generated fund to subsidize the members who will be financially in distress condition to pay the fees and the course fees. And I'm very thankful to Dr. Sajid, as he mentioned, that we took a very early action. We're back in early part of March, and we wrote to the government and also to all private institutions to reduce the fees, exam fees, and course fees. And I think most of these institutions, they came up with a brilliant idea of 30 to 50% reduction. And even with that 30% and 50% reduction also, some of the seafarers will not be able to meet. So BOMA has created a fund. And we also have asked a fund and opened a separate account because of the request of so many members from abroad that they would like to donate. We have had a dedicated fund, which is called Pay It Forward. Pay It Forward means it's a favor being done to you. And once you attain a stage, you pay it forward to the next man, which means you give this money to the same account and we can continue this helping. So this is a Pay It Forward project already being launched at the request of a lot of members, and it's open for all global mariners if they want to contribute to this factor. As regards the passage of the seafarers, we have been very active from the first day, and all the circulars you see in Bangladesh, which has come, it is BOMA has a strong role to play. And I'm very thankful to the people in the Department of Shipping who has really worked hard for it. They have convinced the ministry, and we have done the groundwork. Not only the BOMA has affiliated some of the agents like Hawkins Sons to very mention, who have been very pioneer, who has helped us a lot through different ministries, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ministry of Department of Immigration and Passport, Department of Health, and Department of Drug Administration. We have infiltrated to all these departments and got all those required. Say number one, the COVID for signing off and on, there is no restriction in Bangladesh. Even the result was also on the ship recycling industry, because we had so many ships coming here for recycling, and we had so many crews and officers stranded on multinational. And Bangladesh is the only country where they had a liberal way of going, because we ensured that not only giving them permission for 70 to 96 hours, we have allowed them to be in the hotel, not only in the ship, because after a ship is being beached, it is being dead. So they have been removed to the hotels. The healthcare people, government healthcare people inspected them. They stayed in the hotel and the flights were available. They were repatriated. And even during the lockdowns, we had rules that they were given a safe passage all the way by road from Chittagong to Dhaka to the airport. And this was done in the case of all those recycling people who got stranded. And this is applicable for normal seamen also. So there has been no problem for the seafarers who are joining in and out in Bangladesh port. It's very well clear. There is no doubt about it. And we have worked on it. As regards passport, we have asked to the government to issue passport on urgent basis on 72 hours notice, so that they have a passport valid for 10 years, digital passport valid for 10 years. And we have made those people also eligible because of a complaint from the NYK that if they have less than 18 months, they have problem in joining. So we have also got that rule in existence, where people having passport validity less than 18 months can also apply for emergency passport, and get them in 72 hours for 10 years validity. As regards the COVID-free certificate, we work with the government and from the Ministry of Health. We got 5 recognized, reliable hospitals and laboratories in Dhaka who issues certificates, and 2 in Chittagong. And all the problems we had with this COVID-free, these are all not where the seafarers have gone. The seafarers have a specialized corridor for in all these 5 hospitals in Dhaka and 2 hospitals in Chittagong. Until to date, we have not got any bad report out of that. But unfortunately, it is because of those other people taking these advantages, and the whole pain of the negativity has come on the seafarers, because we are the biggest sufferer because of this fake certificate issue which is going on. And fortunately, none of the seafarers had that, because we have for the seafarers specialized 5 hospitals where they have to go, and in Dhaka and also in Chittagong. So in that case, we have worked on this one, and I'm very grateful to the the Director General of this Health, and also DGDA, and especially to the Chairman COVID Committee, Professor Shahidullah, who has done all this for the seafarers to ensure that the seafarers have a safe certificate and can go. And last on the list, we have also asked the Department of Shipping, because a backlog will be created due to pandemic, lot of exams and everything will stop. So we have went on an agreement with the Department of Shipping to have every day 100 COP exams on first come first service. We have agreed on 60 COC examiners who can take their examination on 2 shifts. Then we have arranged for 10 orals per day for the CC holders. And all the certificates you're talking about, we have started working for a long time, and the Department of Shipping has agreed to renew and extend all certificates till 30th June of 2021. So BOMA has been very particular on these issues, because this is an organization, only organization which is recognized for the seafaring officers in Bangladesh and the legal bodies, and we are doing our best. There is no doubt about it. And as regards, there has been a lot of questions asked to the BOMA regarding ITF affiliation and the ITF's activities. We are in support of this, what ITF has said, because this was a wake-up call. The enough is enough, because you have to understand the ITF movement started on the 2nd week of March. And on the 7th of April, they gave a letter to G20 leaders for the facilitating the safe passage for the cruise. And then it went in May 15th, when they had a meeting with the IMO, ILO, ICS, ensuring that a safe corridor is being made, and they have requested all UN bodies to ensure their member states to take the process. And then finally, when they said, definitely, it was a harsh way of making it, because it was making the seafarers victim for nothing. The result has been that on 11th of July, US and 12 states, 12 countries have come to make an agreement and to make safe passage for the seafarers, a corridor, and it is getting better day by day. But then, as you all heard, that the issue of the flights is a big issue, and there have been some cases when some of the manning agents who doesn't do fragmented, because we have fragmented manning, very small amount of people for each manning company, but the biggest one even dare. Why they did not dare? Because a flight from here to Singapore, from here to Dubai, Dubai to Korea, Korea to Singapore, and for 12 people repetition and going and coming, it was costing more than $100,000 over. So the economic viability was also another thing in issue. So we are working on this one. We are pressing on the government to allow the crew change for the benefit of Bangladesh economy, because it will enhance Bangladesh economy if Bangladesh can allow through its ports in and out, and also encourage other airlines. Even we have talked to the Minister of Aviation also to give a special corridor for the seafarers, so that they can, if there is a charter flight coming from India or from any other place, so that we can accommodate our seafarer to go through it. But you have to understand that the governments here, they move, but they move a little bit slow. So we have to have our patience and just bear with it. Thank you.
Thank you, Captain Enam, for very detailed explanation on and the action taken by Bangladesh Merchant Marine Officers Association. We missed one question for Dr. Sajid. So one question was asked, how you are going to do the graduation ceremony this year? Dr. Sajid.
It's a high-tech era, so therefore it is possible. We have many options. Just for mentioning, it could be online. Everyone will be sitting, will be connected. It's an example only, but we don't see that. At least the present situation as it goes, we can hope that by 2-3 months the situation will improve. The vaccination is already knocking the door, and therefore within 6 months time this world is expected to be normal. However, to answer your question is that the graduation can be done face to face through something like webinar. One will come in front and will see and will congratulate. There can be many arrangements. So it is a very high-tech era, and therefore everything can be possible. And I told you again, I'm repeating the sentence that man is born to be winner. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sajid. Actually, we skip some of the questions because the question is repeating. So I see a lot of questions for Captain Murad. It is quite understand that he is at the frontline soldier. So everybody see him, and the question will come to him. So this question asked by Mr. Ali Shahriar. The question to Captain Murad: how you support the crew and their families who are not able to sign off or sign on due to various reasons mentioned by you, financially and psychologically. Captain Murad.
Thank you very much. Thanks to Mr. Shahriar also. It's a very relevant question. I think in this, as I said, it's been actually around from, if we start counting from March, around 6 months. Seafarers without job, especially those who are awaiting a show, it's a big crisis going on, financially especially. This is one segment who are ashore, and those who are on board actually. As I think I saw one of the question also, how the mental stress, how do you handle that one? Those who are more than 12 months. I think I'll just combine these two first. First is actually from the K-line side, I think this is one of the few company who has gone first to give standby allowances to those people who are waiting ashore. Unlike many company who has given actually the extra allowances to people who are on board, our company has gone to give standby allowances those who are staying more than 3 months. We already had, it's not only for Bangladesh, we have done it for all the seafarers in all nationalities. So as to ensure, so they have got a source of some, we cannot say the full money what they would have earned more at a normal work, but standby allowance I think did help them a long way to, at least to survive at this difficult time. Secondly, for those who are on board actually, how especially mental stress, I think is those who are in the tanker industry, we already know from the many of the suggestions from Intertanko and all this thing came, how do you handle? But I will be a very practical man on the front. I look myself as a seafarer, and I put myself on the other side. How should I? What are the stresses I'm going to, and what the other parties can do? So on that way, from our side, actually, what we have done, we have got a welfare officer, especially in the Bangladesh. Our from the K-line side, Hawkinson's handles everything. And I know from the very beginning, they have listed out all the officers, especially those on board. They started contacting each family members and at a periodical interval. And also to know, especially they even could update us when there is a lockdown at each seafarer's home and something like this. It means when I have got a seafarer who is on board, before his wife tells him that my area is under lockdown, if my guys can, if I can call them and say, sorry, your family, there is a lockdown in your area, and our people are in contact with them. I think that's a very comforting thing for each seafarer. Our Hawkinsons have done this great effort, and this is also what the feedback I have got. This one for other countries also we have done. Actually, in Philippines and all, we have got extensive welfare officer and the regional officers. We have done that one, and few things we have done. We have used the technology. Like we have all the vessels are fitted with internet with 8 Mbps speed, so we can do video calls. From the very beginning, every month our top management had been doing a video meeting with all the crew, so as to ensure them that this company will do their best to ensure their relief and as well to support their family if such need arises. And last and foremost thing, like our many vessel comes to Singapore, as there's a global restriction on the travel. Whichever the vessel comes to Singapore, we have made our best effort to everybody to go and meet everyone face to face, so that we know the seafarers have got their family very long away in Bangladesh. They can't see, they can't see them except they are talking on their phone or video call. So, but we are the closest people they can get to. So at least when I talk to face, he really do understand what is the actual realities and why his relief could not be arranged, rather than giving you all the mumbo jumbo through the email or anything. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Captain Murad. It's good to hear your company is supporting to the crew on board and as well as those who are waiting ashore. So our next question is from Mr. Gulam Sabur. The question is asked to Mr. Zulfikar Hossain. So this question is regarding, I think, some of the legislative or the facility issue. So what is the provision MPA have for ship entering Singapore with dead seaman or dead chief engineer? So Mr. Zulfikar Hossain.
Okay, thank you very much for the question, Mr. Sabur, sir. Let me give some positive news first. Then I will try to see whether I can give the answers to the questions directly to Sabur, sir. Okay. As a while back, Captain Belal mentioned about the online inspection. You may have noticed that remote inspection is going to be here to stay. So I just share my experience on this port status matters. Just to add that since second week of February, when we PSO went on board the ships for inspection, before we commence our duties, we check at ship's gangway whether the ship is free from certain metrics, for example, last port of call, sick person on board, etc., etc. Then we continued our port control inspections. We had also come across ships calling Singapore port after almost a month at sea without having any crew or officers being sick or febrile, means having fever symptoms. Hence, the master of the ship was expressing his concern that the shore people, that is agent, stewardess, and others visiting the ships are the prime concern on infection spread. The ship ensured entry temperature checking and declaration, that is, was in contact with COVID patients or otherwise, etc. All those declaration has to be filled. But around in May, we stopped the port state control inspection due to the protocols as mentioned a while ago. Okay, the last week of June, we commenced a pilot run of port state control office inspections to check ships via virtual means. Although there were critics that there are inherent limitations, but one thing for sure that ship people are preparing the documents, forwarding it to the PSCOs. They do send ship certificates, photo evidences of equipment, video footage, and other things. So, and going around the ship. So this clearly gives a better maintained ships or ship owners or managers taking up the invitation for remote inspection of ships. So at least they are cleared from the metrics. Let me go back to the remote seafarers examinations. You know, Singapore Maritime Academy have lots of seafarers coming for the examination in Singapore, and many of them get a job by the time they finish their exams and they can join ships. So let me add here, Singapore Maritime Academy's written exams were slightly affected due to the contingency measures against COVID-19. The in-person oral examination were halted during ship's circuit breaker from 8th of April. By mid-May, that means within a month plus, the training standard departments developed a new checklist and sought management's approvals to conduct oral examinations via virtual means, like Skype, which will has with certain precautionary measures and objectivity on delivery. The students showed full cooperation and maintained neutrality and a great sense of sanctity and responsiveness for us to conduct the oral examination. After about 2 months, it appears a new norm to conduct oral exams via virtual means, maybe thousands of miles apart. So this is what is the positive news. I have given it to you. May I request Murad or Captain Belal to give Sobur Bhai's question a bit more tactically, because all this information are supposed to be, you have to give a declaration on port health when you're having this type of situation with a dead person coming on board. Let the gurus give the answers. Thank you very much from my side.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Julfikar Hussain. I think the landing of dead body, the procedure is same. It did not change. It should be. It really does not matter. That's what my understanding. I believe you all agree with it. So we go to the next question. Actually, a lot of question, especially asked to Captain Anam and Captain Murad. I think these two persons, everybody like to ask them the question because they are at the forefront. So it is likely they should get the more question. But Captain Anam already explained a lot of answer already been given. So I would ask Captain Belal Ahmed, because we never expected this such situation ever, that it can come like this, the COVID-19. Will you explain how you see the future after the post-COVID?
This is, I don't know whether there is any post-COVID scenario. We have, in the beginning, we all spoke about there will be a post-COVID scenario, but we are 5th or 6th month into the crisis, and probably there is no post-COVID scenario. It is what we call a new normal. So we are not going back to the old normal. There will be new normal. And new normal means a lot of the precautions, a lot of the safety measures that has been put into place now, most of it probably will remain. Even in our daily life in Singapore or in Bangladesh or anywhere, some of the precautions will probably never going back to shaking hand with everybody. I can tell you for at least for next 5 years. so in the shipping is probably same. So now that we are in a kind of a emergency crisis scenario, as Captain Murad has said, we are spending probably 10 times, 20 times more budget just for the crewing side than to do anything. We all have our individual stories. Murad was kind enough to tell his side of the thing that is happening. We all individually in our own companies have already hundreds of stories to tell, and that all involves and as he mentioned, money is no longer a concern for the ship owner. They want to take care of the crew, and that involves spending $20,000 and is still not able to do the crew change. I mean, it happens. So what is new normal coming. Hopefully by middle of next year, we have some kind of normalcy. And one of the reasons, and again, going back to my discussions when we sit down internationally, is one party into the whole supply chain of the shipping industry is still not on board with us in the crisis, is the charters. Now, charters are still not doing as much as they should do to facilitate. So if you have a time charter vessel, it becomes difficult to get a time off in order to do a crew change. I mean, we have ships, for whatever reason, you cannot do the plan change. There is an extra time. The charters don't want to listen. And there was a solution for this. There is a new clause added to the time charter party that requires sharing of cost when ship has to do deviation or needed extra time in a port to do crew change. Having said all these, I don't believe that industry would ever go back to where it was in December or January or February. So let us face the fact, automate whatever we can in our ship management, in our crewing, in our dealing with the families of the seafarers, and technology is there and coming more. So it will all help us not to work like what we did a few months before. So let's use the word new normal, and instead of what is going to happen after COVID-19. And when you talk of dry dock, when you talk of maintenance, new building, we are involved into all these areas, and we can see the difficulties, enormous amount of difficulty. So until at least what they call 60% people need to be infected to have a herd immunity, and then every country says we are all infected now, we don't need any more precaution, you can move around freely, probably is the day or the time we are waiting for. Until then, the test, the travel restrictions will hamper the shipping industry, I think, is more than any other industry. So there is no positive answer to this question.
Okay, thank you, Captain Belal. Yeah, well, we like to see the light at the end of the tunnel, but we hope there is a light, and the light comes very soon to us. We have another question. The question was asked. Meanwhile, I would like to say that initially we plan 1.5 hours, but we have a lot of questions, so we go a little bit flexible and little bit extension of time, if that is acceptable by the speakers. Our next question is was asked by Afsana Shahid. Afsana Shahid asked, "Thank you very much for your for this kind of discussion. Many things we have learned. In current situation, what would be the medical measures for those who are on board, and how about their insurance? Will it cover the COVID-19 disease? Why not the companies think about the equipped medical facilities on board with the trained doctor as a permanent position in the ship future? Is there any discussion with different companies to achieve the shared goal for the betterment of the mariners?" I believe that she might be very close to some of the mariners. So this question, may I ask Captain Murad to answer this question shortly? I think it is not possible, but she have a question. So would you clarify in brief?
Okay, firstly is, it's a COVID-19 or anything, it is covered by the vessel P&I. It will be vessel, every crew member is insured by this one. So not to worry, whatever the reason, it will be covered. Secondly, I think another part I'll just add to this, that I don't know, nowadays, many companies are also adding the family insurance also. Like our company, we have done from 1st July, all our officers for throughout the year for family insurance we have created in Bangladesh, each is having 20 lakhs coverage. So companies are doing their effort. I'm sure Captain Balasa said, a lot of companies are doing their effort. Lastly, I think another question she said, is it possible to, company thinking about the medical facility with a trained doctor? Honestly speaking, if you see the number of, Even in Bangladesh, the number of person under one doctor is quite huge, considering this one. I think, and moreover on cargo ships, considering the actual numbers are on board, and the number of actual medical cases which are normal and higher or maybe serious, I think that's not a very realistic one at this moment, because we all, other than the CIRM Roma, which supports the medical all the urgency needs for the vessels, and second option, of course, every vessel has a way to divert their vessel to attend to the crew. We have got now a lot of actually US based and also Europe based, medical hospitals which can actually under contract support such radio medical advices. However, they use technology like video camera and all these things. Even the MP, I think Zulfikar is saying now, before you Singapore, if you disembark from any crew member, the Singapore wants an oximeter for every crew rather than temperature. And the medical officer calls via video, and he wants to see what is the oxygen contents by oximeter. You want to see the temperature reading, not that you make a report. So I think such technology been used, and it become very easy and to handle the situations on board. I think there's a thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Captain Murad. Yeah, this is sometimes our close relatives, they think that a lot of things might be possible, but finally we are merchant ship. We actually make money. Money is a big concern for us. Then it's a business after all at the end of the day. So some of our question come that whether this seminar is focusing only on the crew. Actually, we are not focusing only on the crew. We are also highlighting the other parts like survey vetting and all other things which Captain Bilal Ahmed also highlighted. And we'll come after this if we have a specific question regarding the survey vetting and related issues. So this program is basically we are highlighting all the issues that have been affected during the COVID pandemic. So not just the crewing matters. So there are a few questions asked to Captain Anam. Some I think already he have answered, but he still asked. So I would ask one question to Captain Anam. What is the threshold? How long a crew can be on board?
Well, if you look at the global decision, it's basically we bang on 11 months, but maximum is 12 months. But if you look at the situation the globe is facing, I think we all have to be very patient and considerate of the situations we have, because it's a difficult time for the globe, and unfortunately seafarers are in the front line. Among the unbelievable courage, the resilience, and the character seafarers have exhibited so far is excellent, and would appreciate that they should continue till we reach a viable solution. And please be sure that BOMA, on its part, is committed for your welfare and well-being, and we'll keep on making an approach logically, legally, and through the government forces, and we are working strongly to make it as smooth as possible. But I think patience is the name of the game, and we should bear in mind and wait for the light which is being viewed by so many of us, and hopefully inshallah when it comes we all be very happy to see the end of the torment we are having now. Thank you.
Thank you, Captain Enam. So one question asked Mr. Shubroto Shaha. I believe he's staying in Singapore. So Mr. Shubroto Shaha asked question to Captain Murad. I think Captain Murad already answered this question, but would you answer it again? So what initiative you have taken for in terms of incentive to those crew who are sitting home idle for a long time?
Yeah, I think I said, all the crew members, especially the keel and those who are working, we had paid those people more than 3 months ashore. We've been paying every month with them standby allowances until now. Everybody from the rating all the way to officers, everybody is getting such financial support to all of us.
Okay, thank you very much. It's good to hear company take such initiative during this tough time for all the seafarers. So one question was asked, this question to Mr. Zulfikar Hossain. This is a very logical question because the audience see Bangladesh Merchant Marine Officers Association, Bangladesh Marine Academy, and this this program was supported by, sponsored by BMCS. So the question is whether the BMCS have any plan to work together with BMMOA and how it is possible. Mr. Zulfikar Hossain.
Okay, thank you, Monir, for the question. And let me just add here what we have done in the social front with regards to COVID-19. BMCS took initiative to express solidarity with frontline personnel at Singapore during March. And we have raised some fund. The fund was from the Welfare Society, and we have given it to some 6 constituencies, RCs and CCs, and as well as Bangladesh High Commission, so that they can use these sanitizers and face masks to them, so that they can attend to the people at those times when the thing was still erupting upwards. After our doing the core function of BMCS in Singapore, we have extended our donation drive. We call it Love and Care of BMCS for Bangladeshis. When we come to know that Bangladesh has developed some lockdown, so that those people who are rickshaw pullers or those people who are doing the daily jobs, daily mojus, they were been out of the jobs. They have no place to go back to their village because they have sold out their village homes and all those things. They have come to Dhaka or some those capital cities for their livelihoods and to grow their families. So we have raised some funds from the Bangladeshi mariners community, which is about close to $10,000, and we have sent it through 2 organizations. At that time, we find that where we can have the maximum reach, we have used Ongikar Bangladesh and as well as Vidyanando. So that was on the social front. Please allow me to add here, many mariners also, many mariners in Singapore have joined other organizations here or on self-motivations, published various virtual posts on COVID precautions or do's and don'ts for this COVID. The family members of BD mariners also contributed in Singapore on COVID effects, mitigations, or on national call to attend those COVID patients from close proximity. When the migrant Bangladeshi workers started getting affected in dormitories. So that was a huge challenge. And I can maybe please allow me to include our 10th batch, Subrata Das. His 2 daughters has developed a software, and it was well recognized and praised in Singapore media. Then Bangladesh mariners community had professional development WhatsApp chat group, which serves as an encyclopedia for mariners here and overseas too. That means sometimes if somebody has some clarifications or any things to ask about those matters, he put up the question and this WhatsApp gives the answers from the experienced person. But during this COVID-19, it was flooded with all type of information, including those, that, and that, everything. Actually, we did not control it. It's somehow, if it gets a cure for them. So we have totally not controlled that professional development, but slowly we have controlled. Now we have developed a separate one. So with regards to going to BOMMA and BMCS, because you see, they are 2 different entities. and they are totally from different origins and different registration countries. So the rules and regulations are a bit different. So at this moment, from my understanding, there are several differences are there, but in our welfare section, we have managed to make that any seafarers or maritime personnel overseas linked with BMCS, we will try to help them or do a collaboration with regards to improvement of the mariners' livelihood, employability, etc., etc. So what I can say, I am positively optimistic on that. And let's see, we look forward. Time will tell us what to do next. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Julfikar. We are almost near to the end of this program. In fact, we increase another 30 minutes because a lot of questions from the audience. I understand that all the shipping companies, they're doing their best. The IMO, ICS, they are also working hard for the crew change and to resolve the situation. But I like to be bit critics here. I'd like to say when IMO, ICS, ITF, ship owners, they're all working hard, but still it's not the wheel is not moving. Where is the legs? Where is the gap? Where the industry is failing to implement? So I would like to ask this question shortly to Captain Belal Ahmed. Where the industry failed to implement this thing, when the IMO, ICS, ship owner all are willing to support the crew change, but it's not happening, and how we can resolve this part.
Yeah, thank you, Munir, for the question. I think earlier I might have mentioned this as well. The biggest difficulty is the local governments. The governments are prioritizing the crisis for how they want to manage the crisis in their own country. So many of them are not taking the key worker recognition of the seafarer to the letter. So they acknowledge, they agree. So I in my capacity, work very closely with ITF on the union side. And you can imagine, this is a crisis that immediately requires people's attention, meaning people who, if you and me having dinner on the table and there is no food, means the ships are not running. Now, that situation has not arisen. Why? Because the seafarers are still working, ships are still moving. Now, do we actually, talk about how do we bring attention that there is no food on the table, and then people will realize that the seafarers are not somebody that we don't see and we don't want to know about them. So basically, local governments have to do something. And governments meaning main principal countries where the crew changes do take place, in Europe, in Far East, in the Middle East, in US ports. So I think that basically is the issue. So recently, not recently, yesterday we had a working group meeting, and we were saying some countries are allowing, and can we have a list of those countries and their difference in the crew change protocol, and then we bring it to the countries who are not doing and ask them, look at all these countries, what they're doing, and tell us which one of these suits you and is still allowed. Like China is second largest economy in the world. There are thousands of ships in China right now, but no crew change allowed. And that's a fact. India, no crew change allowed unless you're an Indian seafarer. I saw a news this morning that the Indian government has taken a decision to allow foreign seafarers sign off in India with effect from today, I believe. But end of the day, it is the local governments, and you cannot push them. Even within Singapore, what you see in the Port Circular 26 and 27 is something that we could extract from the government, not something the government has given to the industry. I can tell you. And MPA, together with us, had to fight with other ministry to get this thing done. and same in other countries. So end of the day, it is the government that needs now to open up and allow the crew change, and that is the crux of the matter. And then, of course, the other issue we have to say Singapore opens or Malaysia opens or another country, then the question of flights comes, not enough flights. Then the question of visa comes, embassies are closed. So we have actually now all the protocol, all the rules, regulations have been made. Now we are coming to flights, visas, and the local governments. So we identify the problems, but not much solutions at this stage.
Okay, thank you, Captain Belal, for highlighting at the core of this problem. Actually, IMO cannot implement the thing. The local government have to implement the IMO rule. And if the local government don't support, actually IMO rule does not implement it. Thank you very much to highlighted this key thing, because people are confused. Who is actually the not supporting the this situation? So my next question will be, I would like to ask Captain Enam, because if, say for example, if we have the audience here who is from different government authority of Bangladesh, what will be your message to them to resolve this situation? Because there are so many things, many countries ban their flights, there are a lot of fake tested, and how you advise them to take care of this thing in terms of crew change and for the welfare of the seafarers in Bangladesh. Captain Enam.
Yeah, thank you very much. Just what I have heard from Captain Balal, I think he has given a very beautiful explanation. Basically, the port states where the ships berth, the flag states where ships are registered, the transit hubs with the airports, and the home countries of seafarers all need to make visa, quarantine, and border exceptions for seafarers. There is no doubt about it. And unless the local government, the UN bodies, they have the IMO has asked all its member states, and these are all governments, to facilitate the protocol and do needful. So it is the individual governments. And when I say individual governments, I mention the port states, the flag states, and the home countries of the seafarers and the transit hubs. So all of them have to be in action to go do their homework and not leave these hundreds and thousands of people at sea stranded, and the world doesn't have any responsibility. And the seafarers are working for their betterment, and the supply chain is being regulated globally for everybody's benefit. So everybody has a reason, and they have enough reason to do something for us. And I requested, basically, we requested Bangladesh government, and Bangladesh government has opened its own, ports and airports. But unfortunately, the airplanes are a big factor. And we have also gone to the Ministry of Aviation, requested them to start with the Biman, so that if you allow with the Biman and allow other, airlines, probably that will be the way. So only we have been pursuing from the first day. And I fully agree that the status for the seafarers to become as an, the key workers is still not being recognized. And Bangladesh, I think, is one of the first. The BOMA was one of the first institution, I should say, that in the second week of March, we started moving for this one. But there has not been any response from our ministry or for the Department of Shipping. So I think they have more problems with themselves to handle, because this is a monsoon time, and you can see the papers that the disasters we have in the inland ships and all this. So government is more, involved into those one. But I'm hopeful if the globe takes a view on that one, that establishing the seafarers as the key personnel and the key workers and give them the specialized privileges. And I'm sure the countries who have on 11th July, the 12 countries who have worked on this one, and it's led by what you call USA, and there are like Germany. Most of these are European countries who have followed, and in the, especially in the East, you have Singapore is also one of them, and then you have Indonesia also one of them. The UAE also have done, and UK also have done. So we'd like to see more governments to go on this one and make sure the corridors are not good enough unless you have planes to lift them. So the aviation also has to come into one. It is the government responsibility to facilitate and do this one. And definitely BOMA is one of the organizations who work for the seafarers, for the benefit of seafarers, and we are strongly working on this one, and will continue our persuasion to the government and all the authorities in Bangladesh.
Thank you, Captain Anam. For explaining this matter. We are coming to the end of this program. We have our honorable speakers from different sectors in the shipping, and I believe that this program was informative, especially those watching this program from Singapore or from all over the world. The key takeaway from this program is how to understand that in Bangladesh we have 2,000 seafarers. 2,000 seafarers is not a small number. 2,000 seafarers on board and 2,000 seafarers at home. So total 4,000 seafarers. So it's not a negligible number. And all the government authority in Bangladesh, they should take care of it. We have seen that some question comes regarding the fake certificate that actually badly turned down the reputation of Bangladesh, and many countries banned the flights. So that is one of the key issue. Especially today, I saw in the newspaper that many countries are concerned that how the fake certificate been issued without testing. So seafarers is not part of it, but definitely they are suffering for it. So this matter, I hope the respective authority in Bangladesh government, respective department, they should take care. And also we understand that from Captain Anam that in Bangladesh there are 5 hospitals been identified, and they have been showed a very good reputation on this matter. Then regarding the crew sign-off, we have seen from Captain Murad, he represents K-Line Ship Management, but I am also part of the ship management and ship owning side, and I have seen that all ship owners, it's not a good time. It's actually the business is quite down, and many countries are already in part of recession. So, but in that situation also, companies, they are willing to arrange the sign-off. They are still standing beside the crew. Even if I say my company, even we don't, we take each and every opportunity. Wherever it's possible, we do a crew change. Even that includes deviation of vessel to the nearest port. So ship owner is trying hard. The union is working hard. The IMO is telling to do everybody part of their job. But we have the difficulties. What we understand from Captain Belal, that the respective government may not fully understand it or supporting it. So that makes the overall situation quite difficult for a crew change. And also, even the crew, the seafarers are recognized as the key workers, but that may not be actually been implemented practically. So that's the sad part of it. I'd like to thank all our guests for your time and joining us in this seminar. I thank you all the audience who is with us today for this seminar. I hope that you have enjoyed this discussion, and probably you can take away from it some valuable information and understand the current situation and future as well. So we are at the end of this program. So this program was organized from BMCS, and we have the president of BMCS with us. So I'd like to ask Mr. Zulfikar Hossain to say something about, and that would be, we'll be closing this seminar after that.
Thank you very much, Monir. I really thank from the bottom of the heart together with my committee and yourself in the professional group and professional development group, and Latif, whom I should mention his name, has done this broadcasting live and in such a superb way. I could not have imagined it. So please allow me to thank you guys again. And I was very little bit anxiety because I have never sit in front of cameras like this way. Sajid, Captain Bellal, Anam sir, and all those people are very, very conversant and doing this like a fingertips. So let me allow some closing remarks. With regards to COVID certificate, you know, those 1,000 or 15,000 certificate which has been issued some time back, they will not be any more valid because all the certificates has to have only 48 hours of validity. So please, industry, take a note that we are going to present new certificates, and with the proper administration has taken full and due course so that the new certificate what is going to be issued on coronavirus PCR test will be more authentic and more legitimate. Please don't get deterred from those negativity anymore. And what I wanted to say that flights, even they put up the flights, they have to cancel the flight because only 1 or 2% is flying. Visas are still not available. Quarantine either side, then passport validities. There are lots of uncertainty still there. But what I can see that we are getting more and more experience, like more and more we are coming to know the positivity and optimism in the current citizenry. Means what I wanted to show that what was not known to us in January or February, what to do and not to do about COVID, it has been known to us now. Let us all practice those social distancing and take all precautionary measures seriously and follow them meticulously always. And if we do all those things, flights, visa, and all those things will improve. The industry will have the confidence. People will, of course, wants to have the economy rolling again. So let us all hope for the best. And I wanted to thank again all those pioneer experts. They have tremendously contributed to our this webinar 2020. We had a similar program 1 year back on 20th of July, where we have invited our Minister Vivian Balakrishnan, and he was amazed with the Bangladeshi mariners community in Singapore, and he really thanked us, where we have given invitations to many ship owners and topmost executives. So let us, we go forward and achieve more. If we find more positive feedbacks, we may continue this webinar so that we can bring more and more newer information as the time passes. That is what I can share with you guys. Please forgive if any mistake or anywhere we have not done to your expectation. Please, I am responsible for that. Please take my sincere apology for that. Please be safe and be safe for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Captain. Thank you, Mr. Zulfikar Hussain. We thank all our guest speaker. We thank all our audience again. We are sorry that some of the question we could not answer. I can see in my screen, but it was not been answered because we don't have the time. But we hope that we can answer it in next seminar when we'll arrange it. Thank you very much. Wish you all the best and good night. Thank you.
Hey.